It's us, right? Come with this. Thanks everyone for turning up. There would have been more people, I'd imagine, but for Rangers having a friendly yesterday in Blackpool, maybe curtailed a few for coming through. Other people, Big Stuart is on holiday. The last I heard, he was in New York. That was the tail end of his cruise. We're obviously here for one reason. It's for the man here and to unveil the bench. We've all known Stephen in different ways for a long time. Me personally, is for 58 years, since Primary 1, which is nearly as long as you.
Nearly.
A lot of people from here forward might want to visit the bench. I'd say some of his friends who couldn't be here today will want to visit it. School friends, Rangers friends, etc. The one I would say who probably would want to visit it the most would be his son, Dylan, who's currently resident in Italy. Still a young lad at present, but I think that when he's old enough, maybe 18, and able to think for himself, he'll be able to contact his Uncle Richard and he'll give him directions to come along and visit the bench. And I'm sure that Stephen, that was probably his main passion, would you say?
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
His son,
Definitely.
anytime you're out with Stephen, it was a phone the wee man. So I'd imagine he would be delighted if his son could blank his bum on here. Personally, I'd like to thank everybody who's contributed towards the bench and also the excess that we've got, which is going across to Chest Heart and Scotland, because Stephen obviously had the second stroke and didn't really recover from the second stroke. Going forward to the flag, some people might know, some people might not know, as the flag was actually draped in Stephen's coffin at the funeral, so there's a wee bit of an emotional attachment to the flag. It's now been to New York and Las Vegas, courtesy of Wolf Marshall. It's also been to Paris, where Stephen took ill last July. So it's came back to his sort of spiritual home, and it's finished way back, and it's his good friend Gavin that took that across there. Finally, on my part here, the thanks I would want to give would be to his friend Debbie in London, who without him, I think his demise would have been a bit lonely, would you say?
Oh, 100%.
She kept us all in touch with what was happening with Stephen, and she was the one who visited him all the time. I personally can't thank her enough for the friendship that she gave to Stephen at a time where he probably most needed it, where geographically it would have been harder for ourselves to have done it. Other people who are going to thank would be the donations came in worldwide. He's got a friend in America, Nancy. She contributed, and there's been like Brighton, Gavin contributing, other ones in London. So thankfully we managed to get enough to do the bench and also a wee surplus for Chest Heart and Stroke Scotland. So with these few words, I'll hand it across to Richard to unveil the flag, and Gary, a long-time friend of Stephen's from primary school, who's also a Celtic supporter. Pantomime booing.
Oh man, shit.
Obviously,
Arthur.
Good friends, and caught up quite recently at the reunion. Gary done the DJ, managed to see Stephen again quite recently. So without further ado, if we could unveil the flag and see the new bench.
There you go.
I'll now hand you across to Richard, who may or may not want to say a few words. No?
I'll pass on that one.
You pass. Well, in that case, if you, Richard, would like to present the cheque
Here we go.
to Hazel, who's representing Chest Heart and Stroke Scotland.
Just going in the PAR.
It's going on news at 10,
Is it?
and the Rangers news.
So, am I
have any bombs.
You can keep it with the plan. If you want to go past, just go. Thank you.
Should have brought a camera stand, man. Number before.
Since Richard's a man of very few words, we'll now pass you across to Hazel, who might want to say a few words on behalf of Chest, Heart and Stroke Scotland.
I just wanted to say a huge thank you for the donation. I'm here to represent Chest, Heart and Stroke Scotland. I'm the coordinator for Perth and Even Ross. And this will be put towards our Chest, Heart and Stroke services to support people with the hospital to home services which we run for people who've had a stroke or one of our conditions across Perth and Kinross. So, thank you so much for thinking of us.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to say a few words, except Pasha?
No. So we were looking at all again.
We've
No.
seen your public speaking, so maybe advise
I think we just cut a video like that.
That's the only word needed.
There you go, a wee raise a glass.
I'm in the first round.
We've got the Tenants Lager because although it's not the best of drinks, I think it's what Stephen liked. So the day's all about Stephen and nothing else. So if nobody else has got anything further to say, that will conclude the unveiling ceremony. And thanks again for your attending, and thanks again to every single person who contributed to make this bench possible. And it'll be here for a number of years that hopefully people will be able to sit and reflect. Because Stephen liked to, when he was home, he liked to sit by the river and take photographs of the river, so it's quite a scenic thing.
You know, to sit and listen to Rewind with Kerry.
The other thing you liked was Rewind. You liked live music, so this time next week we'll have Rewind across the road, and we'll probably have people sitting here drinking alcohol, which you would probably approve of.
Oh, very much so. Yeah.
listening to the wine. So that realistically is it. And thanks once again to everyone for contributing and your attendance today. Thanks very much.
Well done, Arthur. You've done well.
Yeah, you done everybody proud of that, man.